Whenever like a personal movie comes to Sundance and says semi-autobiographical, but how semi is this? Like, I feel like it's pretty specific.
All of the little details in the story are invented. Doris's Cinderella journey, I didn't have that journey, but my brother was in hospice at the same time as Terry Schiavo in 2005, and I was 18 when that was going on. So I was a teenager dealing with saying goodbye to my brother in an environment that was filled with media and protesters and all of those things. That was all true, but all the details of Doris's specific teenage journey were not my own.
And also, I think it's important for people to know that my character is not, her personality is not based on Laura's mother. That there is a divergence there. I think there's some commonalities as far as facing the situation that she's facing, but I think as far as personality is concerned, it would be unfair to Laura's mother to lay that on her. So.
Yes, I think Christine, is there to represent a lot of the emotions that one would feel going through that, and if you're the teenager in that environment, it's definitely stressful. Your parents are stressed, things are happening that are challenging for you when you're a teenager, and so Christine is representing those things, but I think she's more adversarial and more in your face than my mother was, for sure.
You've done a lot of writing and comedy and performing of your own. Did you always know that this was going to be your directorial feature debut?
No. No, not at all, no. I wrote the script because it was just a story that I really wanted to tell. I found that the unique specificity of Terry Schiavo, what was going on at that time, was interesting thematically to talk about grief. And I really wanted to talk about grief because I've experienced so much of it. And so it was really just a story that was kind of burning to come out of me. And then when I read the script, it became clear that we could maybe turn this into something because it got a positive reaction.
One of the things I really love about this movie is how it weds the idea of coming of age to a wider awakening to family, awakening to politics. How important is it to both of you to keep that in mind as you have your own careers? Keep politics in mind, keep family in mind.
I mean, I think for me, with this story, I wanted it to not be, a romantic awakening or, the things that you typically see in coming-of-age stories. I really wanted her journey to be one of realizing that the world is much bigger than it was a year ago, because I think that's been my own journey. Every year I realize there are more people in the world. So yeah, that was why that story in particular was important to me.
And the arts are inherently political. I mean, they are.
Yeah.
So, connection is political. Disconnection is political. So it's very hard to keep anything that's deeply human away from politics. And I think people remove themselves from politics, but really it's when you're, in this situation is a perfect example of when politics comes to you. When you are living politics, when you are in the middle of it, when it is really a living thing and not just an idea that people bludgeon each other with. But it's actually an experience that people have to go through.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Like the idea that politics is already there, and actually it's the act of pushing it away that's artificial. That all art is kind of political. If you don't mind, I have to ask you a personal tangent.
Sure.
We are looking back at this Sundance at films from the past. Mm-hmm. You have an all-time great Sundance film, and You Can Count on Me, which was here, it had its great debut in 2000. Also, The Savages. How often do you reflect on your Sundance experiences? Is this a happy place for you?
Well, I'm very proud to be here. But believe it or not, this is the first time I've been able to be here for a few days. For You Can Count on Me, I was flown in and flown out. Nico, unfortunately, the remarkable lead of our movie isn't able to be here because she's filming and they wouldn't let her out. And I was in that situation many times, and they would let me out for 12 hours. So I would fly in and fly out, and that happened on 3 films. For Squid and the Whale, I wasn't able to attend at all. So I was here for You Can Count on Me. I was here for The Savages, which I have wonderful memories about all of that. Particularly You Can Count on Me because it was the beginning of my career, and Mark Ruffalo and I really share that whole journey, and so we're forever bonded because of it. So
it changed everything for you, right?
It did. It did. It changed everything for me. It changed everything for him. And I think we were so proud that was the first thing we were able to contribute, was something that we were really so deeply proud of. And I hope that Laura feels the same way as she should about her movie.
This feels like one of those as well. Can you talk to me a little bit about how the script hit you when you read?
I read. I just thought it was wonderful. I just loved it. Instantly loved it. And there's a guide that I sort of use for myself is if I start working on it before I finished reading it for the first time, if I can't help myself, if my actor brain turns on and I just start unconsciously working, then that's a pretty good indication that it's something I need to take very seriously. And so I knew by the time I'd finished it that I was going to do it. There was
really
no.
Interesting. And you started already thinking about it.
You start. It's involuntary.
Yeah.
You can't help it. You start seeing things. You start hearing things. You see personality things change. You see how the script has been written. The chapters within the script. You see the arc of the character. You see the arc of the narrative. I mean, it's real. Now that doesn't happen all the time. It happens when they're good.
Yeah, when they're good.
Yeah,
right.
and sometimes you can have a script that's a little wonky in certain areas, but works in others, and so you give that a try because you see stuff that you think can be worked. But this was ready to go. I mean, this was done and pristine.
Yeah.
So
it's tough that Nico isn't here because I really wanted to meet her and talk to her about this, and it is really such an arrival for her.
Yeah,
I saw her in The Last of Us, obviously, and it was she blew me away. But can you both talk a little bit about why was she right, and also what was it like working with her?
Oh my God, Nico Parker. It's funny. I was working on this script it started in 2018, and so around that time I was like thinking about girls, this age, and I'm biracial, and so I was like thinking of biracial teen actresses, and I Googled mixed race teen actresses, and Nico Parker showed up, and I was like, who is this? Like this hair, and I was like, what a stunning creature. But she was like 15 or so, 14 or something. So I was like, the age isn't right, but I was like, wow, she is something. And then it took however many years to get us to the place where we were casting, and I was like, I want to meet her, and I met her on Zoom, and she was in London, and she's so like funny and just way too wise for her age, way too smart for her age.
And then we did chemistry reads with her. We Zoomed with her.
Yes,
yeah.
And then we did chemistry reads, and I don't know, we read other Dorises, but she was always, I was always just like, it's her, it's her, it's her. She just, everything about her. And then she has this freakish kind of, savant talent. I know, oh my God. Yeah.
She's a fantastic conversationalist. She really brings wonderful things to every conversation you're in.
I'm thrilled to hear that.
Yeah, me. It was fantastic. She has these wonderful cultural references that she'll start talking about. Classic movies.
Her favorite movie is Paper Moon. She's like that. I know, and you're like, you're 17.
I know, and you're British, and here you are. So she was, and at the same time, she is starting. So there is what you see is a person who's on their way. Who's taking her first steps, who's learning a lot every single day. And it's all assimilating, and she's figuring it all out.
And watching Laura, and like so intimidated to meet Laura and to work with Laura, and just observing Laura in a way that...
Because you are so intimidated.
Because I'm mean. I'm mean. I am down, and I like to be mean to young people. I get particular joy. I like to eat them alive with one tooth.
But actors, I will say this, actors
are really scared of me.
The way that actors think about Laura, because Woody Harrelson was like, oh, Laura Linney is the GOAT. Like, he was like, she is the great, like, he was like scared to meet you. Like, people look up to Laura with this reverence that is like, I mean, I have it too, so.
Even though you eat actors. So let that be the final question then, since Woody isn't here either. Why was he perfect for this role, and what was it like working with him?
Well, it's funny because Woody, when I was writing this script, the character of Paul, he's eccentric and he's protesting this case, but I really wanted, regardless of your political beliefs, I really wanted everyone to root for him and care about him, even if they didn't agree with why he was there. I wanted that for every character in the movie. And so when I was writing Paul, I was like, who is someone with just that like undeniable Southern likability? And I thought of Woody, and I started watching Woody movies, and so I sort of channeled Woody into the character when I was writing him. And then when the script was finished, when he showed interest in it, I was like, this is divine. It was so magical.
Yeah, and I learned why he is as captivating to watch as he is. The man is unbelievably present. He's present in a way that 99.9% of the actors are not. He is right there. It's a voracious, it's like he's eating up scenes and they're delicious to him. He relishes being in it. He loves connecting. There's a brightness and a sort of mercurial, really sharp mind. It was just a delight to be around him. I loved it.